Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you guys are. This is Nicole Joubert, who's figuring it out as we go. But I feel a little bit better about the way things are going. So I really love that. Hi for everyone joining. I really appreciate you, Julian and Joss and Simo and Odd Baby. Is that Odd Baby 41? Interesting. Yes. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in. Not really sure how this one's going to go today because I don't have like a predetermined subject. Usually I'm coming in here and I kind of know what I'm going to talk about. So I kind of know, so I'm just going to wing it because I feel that somewhere in there, like I'm going to figure out a flow that works with everything that I'm doing. And hi to you on Facebook. So, okay, so today what I'm figuring out like what so far like this live and oh my gosh, I did not start the podcast. Hold on one second, guys. So we have to start the podcast. Error opening. No, we cannot have an error opening. No, 1 second. 1 second, guys. I think I'm going to stop and come back if I can't figure this out. Why is it having a problem with the mic? I don't want to use my built-in microphone. No! 1 second. You guys, please bear with me just 1 second. Core audio, no problem. Why is that all the way up? That should be kind of, well, just leave it alone. I need you to use this microphone and is it starting? Error opening recording device. Invalid sample rate. Okay, guys, so I'm going to be right back. I'm going to pause this because I got to do the podcast. No, I'll just do the podcast secondly. That's what we'll just do. Forget it. I'm just going to go for it. And I'll just have 2 runs at this instead of 1. So give me 1 second. Let me just pull back up the screen. Okay, thank you, guys. Hi, Tony. Hi, James. Hi, King of Entrepreneurs. Interesting. Hi, Ayub. Hi, Dan Cam. Hi, Troy's Pressure Washing. I remember you, Troy. So, okay, so today what I'm going to talk about is what it takes. So I'm kind of figuring out the format so far of what I think these are going to take, and that is like talking about something, how my journey has been, and then kind of giving you guys some goodies at the end with a little tip. And so today, yesterday, when I was doing a lot of research yesterday for the million different things that I have to do research for, and I started to think about like how much time that dedication that this takes. And then, but one thing that started to happen that I thought was really interesting is that I started to get excited. So since the beginning of this, I've always loved what I do. You know, there are different phases of that love, of it being stronger or lesser, depending on what issue or what high I was on or what low I was on, because the journey takes you on some very high highs and some very low lows. It's almost bipolar. And that would be interesting if someone made it a bipolar journey. But one of the things I was thinking about, I just had like this flash through my mind of what it takes and what it takes to be able to sustain yourself in this journey. So I know everybody who does an entrepreneurial journey that to some degree that it's going to be unique to them exclusively. But for some people, there are certain things, certain subject matters that'll come up. And so this today is personal about my own journey and what it took for me to get in the zone and pull this off. The first stage of this, because obviously I'm in a second stage. And so I feel myself going back into that zone and it's very exciting. And I forgot how exciting it was. Yes, it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of new information. But I'm like excited. I don't want to go to bed at night. I want to stay up all night and I want to learn. And then I want to wake up as early as I possibly can. So I'm enjoying that feeling. And when I was realizing that yesterday, I wanted to talk to you guys about what it has taken for me to do this in the very beginning. I'm going to talk about one relationship in particular. So I had a friend who had been with me through a lot of my journeys at the time. We had been friends for about 10 years. If she's listening, I love you, mean no harm to you. But this is our story from my perspective. And when we had started a lot of businesses together. So she didn't live in California. She used to at one time, but then she moved back to her home. And she didn't live in California at the time, but we talked like literally every single day on the phone, because when I was disabled and when I was just trying to figure out what was going to be the next stage of my life, because I thought I was on a trajectory, that a planned, very planned trajectory. And then when I had my back injury, it just threw me out of, whack. And I didn't start acting till I was 31, so I was already late in the game. I started like in the entertainment industry since I was 16, but specifically I started a conservatory, the 3-year conservatory that I went to at 31, which is already really, really, really late in the game. And the one thing that really saved me was that I looked like I was a teenager when I was 31. Like I looked like I was literally a kid, a 16-year-old. So it was easy for me. But that's the trajectory that my life was on. I trained really hard. I'd sacrificed that a lot, and I was starting to make some waves. And then I got hurt, which put me out of the game. And because I went into a depression when I got hurt, it was really difficult for me to keep up with the industry. So by the time I was done with my injury, I had recouped. It had been 7.5 years, and the ideal of starting from scratch in Hollywood just didn't appeal to me. And I needed to make money fast. And so one of the things that I was doing is I was trying all these different things. I was building WordPress websites and I started different businesses, just trying to see if something would work, because I had the cushion of my family helping out, and I also had some money that, that was going to run out but hadn't run out yet. So I had a little bit of cushion, but I couldn't get up and go work a job. And so this was kind of the beginning. It's not the beginning stages of internet, but the whole ideal of online marketing was very fresh. This is back in about 2012. So we would talk almost every single day because she was on a similar trajectory. We had stopped talking for a while. When we hooked up, we found out that we were both kind of in this business mind trying to figure out this online game. And we had a lot of fails, like fail after fail after fail after fail again. After fail again, after fail again. And for me, the thing that kept driving me is that, one, I had a lot of time on my hand, so I could either watch TV or I could try to figure out a skill set. So I was like, okay, well, I'll figure out a skill set that just makes more sense, because I'm not getting any younger and I have to make my way in this world. And she felt the exact same way, although she's a little bit younger than I am. We're both like, we have that hard work ethic that, we want to be the ones. We're very independent, and we want to take care of ourselves. We want to take care of our loved ones, just the whole 9 yards. So she was with me through all these fails, and there was a lot of learning through all those fails. Like the little bit of code that I learned back then, because WordPress sites didn't have themes. You had to code them, and although it like blew up my brain, I had to learn code. Inbound marketing was really popular back then. The whole funnel thing hadn't come into play yet, but there were a lot of things with the beginning of online marketing that, because I went through all of those failures back then, it makes me apropos to be what I'm doing now, because I really understand it. It's not a leap for me. I get it because I was in there from the beginning. So when I started, I think if you listen to one of the previous videos, I think it's the very first one, I talk about how I actually came to be in Trendy Carrot, how I started this one. And at that particular time, my life was just in complete turmoil. My money had run out. No one would hire me, and I was going to get evicted. There was just all of this stuff going on, and she was holding my hand through all of that. She's actually one of the people who was like, I don't know what's going on, but I think you're not supposed to get a job. And I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? But you guys know that journey. If you don't, go back and listen to my origin story. So when I started my business, she made the decision that she was done with the whole online thing. Both of us had limited funds. In order to do the things we thought we needed to do, you needed to have money to pay for this, money to pay for that, money to pay for this. And then every time we thought that we were like, oh, this is the end of it. We're going to learn this one thing, and our websites are going to take off after I learn this last thing. You scrape up the money, you get it together, you get in there, you learn it, and then you find out after that there's another step. And so she had gotten to the point that she was just like, something, this online thing is a scam. It's not that you can't make it, but if you don't have like a lot of money to really go in, and I can't do it, and so I'm going back to school. And the thing about her going back to school is that she was going into something that was really exciting to her. So that was really, really awesome because she didn't just like give up and be like, I don't want to do this anymore. My life is over with my passion. She gave up on the online world and went into something that like literally like that set her on fire. Every time she would talk about it, she was so super excited about it. So that was really good. And so one of the things that she was suggesting for me to do, strongly suggesting for me to do, was also give up the online journey. It's not going to work. You and I have been doing this for years. You see that it hasn't worked so far. Just give it up. And she said, you should go back to school. And I gave that a thought. Literally, I gave it a thought because it hadn't worked. And so you can only be slapped in the face so many times before you're like, maybe I should look in a different direction. So I started looking into something that would excite me. And just the thought of the journey that I would have to take before I could support my family. Now, the difference between she and I is that I had children. She did not. So I had people who were depending on me. I couldn't just say, hey, I'm going to take the next, 4 or 5 years and I'm going to go to school, because the only thing that interested me, believe it or not, was cybersecurity with through artificial intelligence, and I knew that was going to be a road. I mean, it's still sexy. That's still exciting to me right now, and maybe that's something that I'll pursue one day. But at the time when I was in this desperation to, get my brain back functioning again into schoolwork, and then getting back in and starting over from the beginning, because, that had nothing to do with the last time I was in school. It just didn't make sense for me to start over. And so I had started to on the journey to get to Trinity Carat. I hadn't gotten there yet, but over time she was with me as I was getting there, and we kept talking. But there was something in my spirit that just said, this one is different. This one is going to work. It was something that I hadn't felt about anything else. And so it got to the point where she was so strong in her opinion that every time we talked, I didn't want to say about the new discovery that I'd had that day about my business or anything, because it was just like this barrage of, just pushback on it. And it just got to the point where, in a friendship, you want to be free to be you. And that's the one thing that I love about her, is that I can be me 100%. But I felt that at this particular time, I couldn't be me. She was just like every single time. And then she got more aggressive with it. And we had a mini blow up. It wasn't bad. It wasn't there were no name callings, but it was just a mini blow up. And that's not something that I traditionally have with friends, is blow ups. With the friendships that I have, usually if there's a misunderstanding, my friends, if they don't know, I hope they do now, that they can always come to me and talk to me about it, because the last thing I want to do is hurt their feelings. The last thing I want to do is cross some boundaries that I shouldn't have. So if you talk to me, you tell me, because I care for you, I'm going to make sure that I don't do that thing again if it offends you, and likewise with myself. So this blow up that she and I had, we had a couple of times before, but because I loved her, I'd always been like, okay, well, let's mend our bridges and let's put it back together. But this last one, I remember I was in a thrift store, and we were talking on the phone, and when I got off the phone with her after that particular call, I made a decision that she and I, if I want to be able to do this, that negative voice in my ear daily is going to crush me. This is hard enough as it is. I'm believing in myself. I have nothing to show that I can do this. I have nothing to show that I'll ever be successful. If I want to do this, I'm going to have to put every bit of positivity in this. I'm going to have to, be strong in my prayer life. I'm going to have to put in work like I've never worked before. And I knew that I was going to have to let her go. As much as I loved her, I was going to have to let her go, and I did. And we haven't spoken since. Because I'm still on this journey, and I can't afford to have anything come in, and I also don't have the luxury of having time. I can't sit on the phone and talk to people. I don't do that. I have given up a lot to secure my future. So this business is for my clients, but the purpose that it serves is that it's financially how I survive. It's financially how I'm setting myself up for the future. You know, this is my retirement. I think I've said this before. I'm throwing everything into this and it has to succeed. Like, there is no second. It has to succeed. I'm not going to go do something else. Yes, I can take the information that I have gained in doing this and I can probably go get a very cushy job. But I don't want to build someone else's company when I know that I have it in me to build my own. That's the goal that I'm going for, and I'm not allowing anyone or any circumstances to stop me from that. So I don't talk on the phone. You know, I don't date. I haven't, dated in 5 years, and I have no intentions of dating right now because I've got a goal, and it just wouldn't be fair to someone to come into my life right now unless, God makes it a way that it's supposed to happen. But, when guys approach me in the DM, I'm very polite with them, but it's just not where I'm at right now. And it's not that I don't want these things. It's not that I don't want to go and hang out with my friends all the time, because I have a group of awesome friends. Over the past 5 years, I have just built an awesome network of amazing women who are so supportive. And like, these are friends that I was like, wow, I love this. Thank you. Thank you, God, for giving this to me. But they understand where I'm at and they get it. And they see me when they see me. I can, get on the text if we're all texting when I can. They know that if I disappear, they understand it, they get it, and they love me regardless because they understand where I'm at and they see where I'm going. But my goal is, because I don't think that you should only work. I do think that you need all of that. You need a great relationship with a significant other. You need time to spend with your family. You need time to spend with your friends. You need time to detox. But that's the goal that I'm working for, so that I can have that in plenty. I have no desire to be a workaholic. I have no desire to retire because I want to do something I love until I die. But I know that everything has its place. But the whole goal of this is just the realization of what it takes. I thought that when I was pursuing my acting career, that I had a level of discipline that was worthy of some type of recognition. Now that I'm doing this entrepreneurial thing, this thing over the last 3 years, and I'm now in the new phase of it where I'm back in the grind again, I'm realizing that I was only halfway doing it back then. This focus that I have right now, I will not be stopped. And it feels like when I listen to the stories of other entrepreneurs that I respect, that are ahead of me in the game, that this self-realization that I came to once I desired something so bad is par for the course. Like, it's not special that this is something that I went through. I'm not singular in this. It feels like when you find that thing that you're so passionately attracted to, and you don't allow anyone else to stop you, that's the kind of focus that you have to have. And so for me, that is what it takes to get where you're going. Now, hopefully people will do it a little bit better than I will. Hopefully people will understand how to sustain relationships and the same time. But I guess God knew who I was and where I was going to be, because he gave me the perfect set of friends. He gave me a family that supported me. He gave me children that understood what was going on and are just getting in line. Although my children are a little bit older, they're not babies, because I don't know that I could have done this when they were younger, or maybe I could have, who knows. I don't want to dissuade anyone out there who's got young children. I don't want to give you the excuse to not do it, to not take that first step. I don't know how to tell you that you're in the right business. I don't know how to tell you that you're in the right journey. I do know that all those times that I wasn't in the right journey, that I was trying things, that I was failing, they were leading me to here. When I started this, there was this little inkling inside. This little thing. It was so soft. It was barely recognizable. And it just made me like hold on to that and believe in it. And it was something that I hadn't felt before. It was something even different than when I was acting. And when I'm acting, that's one of the few times that I feel free, that I can fly like a bird, because I'm very controlling and self-wound up. And when I'm acting, I feel free. But this little voice that I felt that was pushing me forward, that continues to push me now. Don't wait for that voice to start, because I do feel that whether I knew it or not, the powers that be knew where I was going and was having me in those business before to fail. I learned something from each and every one of those. Had no idea that social media was even going to be a big deal when I was trying to understand inbound marketing back in 2012. But here we are, and although it's not called the same thing, the concepts are still there. So I just want to say all this just to let you know, like to walk you through my journey. And there are different aspects of it, and this is just this part, because that friendship that I gave up, it hurt me to give up. Even though we had that blow up, even though she's like one of the few friends that I've had blow ups with and we come back together, I love her. I love her to this day. And I'm hoping that one day I can get to a place where I'm so secure in what I'm doing that it doesn't matter what anyone says, that's not going to tear my positioning down, tear up my stride. Right now, I just feel that because I'm in such a fragile place, again, like I was 3 years ago, for the next part of my journey, I can only have people who can get in that tunnel vision with me. So it was a huge sacrifice. I have sacrificed a lot. I have sacrificed luxurious things. I put almost everything I own. If it's not supporting me, I throw it back into my business. I've sacrificed having a glamorous car. I've sacrificed having a glamorous place to live. I've sacrificed, hanging out all the time. I don't do any of that stuff. One, because that money I could use somewhere else. That I'm just going to hang out, have that time, and not be able to use it. But if I put that money back into my business, I can see quantifiable what's going on with that money. And for me, that's the only thing that I'm concerned about. So that was my journey. I don't want to come off too serious or too hardcore, but that's the truth of what it's been for me. And hopefully there's someone out there that can relate to this, that this helps or comforts or something, because I know that as human beings, we do things and we have experiences so that we can help the next person along in their experiences. And I'm hoping that these lives that I'm quasi getting used to, I'm hoping that by doing them and, being embarrassed about having 90,000 followers, but only a couple of people are coming into my life because it's not something that I do. My audience isn't used to it. They're not trained to it, but just taking it, eating it, and going. And all the other new things that I'm trying that I've never done before, and just eating it, taking the lesson and moving forward and looking at the bigger picture. I just really hope that someone out there can grab onto this and run with it, and that it does something for them one day. So that is it for the journey part of this. Now I'm going to give you guys a tip. So I've been on this bio kick for a while, and so I'm just going to give you another Instagram bio tip. So one of the things that that you only get one place on your entire page that you can click off, and that's the URL link in your bio. So when I'm working with my clients, one of the first things that I ask them to do is I talk to them about, it's like, how do you understand what's working and what's not working on your page if you have no way of tracking? So now there are levels to tracking how your marketing is working, how what you're doing is working. But a very simple thing that I ask them to do as I'm leading them into understanding metrics and data is I tell them to get a trackable link in their URL, in their bio. So there's a free service out there. There are paid ones, but there's a free one, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's Bitly, bit.ly. Go to Bitly, you take any link out there and you put it in there, and it's going to give you a Bitly, bit.ly / and then it's going to have some letters and numbers. Now, the cool thing is that you can take those letters and numbers and you can personalize them to anything that you want them, as long as it's never been used on Bitly before. So if you go to my my bio right now that you'll see that mine is bit.ly/Boss Talk with Nicole, because I'm sending people to my podcast, but you can put any link up there. The only links you cannot use are referral links, because what happens is that when other people are using referral links, because all a company does is they give you, NicoleJoubert.com/, and they change the numbers, but every single affiliate out there has the same beginning and different numbers, and so it's all linking to the same site. Instagram blocks those because after too many hits of the same link, even if they're different to the same site, Instagram block those. So you can't put referral links. There's probably some trick out there that allow you to do that, but I haven't come across it because I haven't needed to. Maybe one day. So that is my tip. Oh, let me tell you how you use it. So the reason why you do this is because you can look at this very simply and see. You start looking at your data, because what it does is it tracks every single time someone clicks on that. So if you take this Bitly and you put it in your Instagram URL, if you put it on your Twitter page, if you put it on your Pinterest, if you put it, anywhere that you've got a profile, you put it there, and every time someone clicks on it, it'll track where that's coming from. So when you go over to your account in Bitly, it'll tell you how many times that link has been clicked. It'll also tell you where it's been clicked. So you can see right away if, let's just say, you're doing an equal amount of marketing posting on different websites, different social platforms. It'll tell you which platform is pulling the most attention. So you'll know right now. So if you're getting 40% of your traffic from Instagram, but you're getting another 45% from Twitter, then maybe you need to pay just a little bit more attention to your Twitter account. Now, also, what it'll tell you is what's working and what's not in terms of your marketing. So if you're planning out your marketing and you're talking to your audience, which all of you should be doing unless you're just wasting your time, if you're doing all of that, you're testing what content works, what doesn't work. Do they like this? Do they like that? You can tell through how many times people track your links, because this is the thing. The whole goal of everything that you're doing on your page for businesses out there is to get people to take the next step. And in most times, the next step is to get to your website or to a product or something, but it's that link is how they get there. So if let's say normally you get 10 clicks a day, and then you look there one day and you got 45 clicks, you're like, oh, well, what did I post that day? What was I doing right that day? Oh, okay, so this is what I posted. Let me try that again, and let me see if that was why, because there are a lot of different reasons. It'll start cluing you in. And on the same token, let's just say, one day you come and you've got 2 clicks, 2 days in a row, and then it goes back up to its 10. So what did I do different those 2 days? Did I post like super late at night? Did I post something crazy? Was I all in my feelings and not thinking about my audience? It'll really start to tell you, and you'll start to understand how to read a data as it refers to your account, and how to be a better marketer for your page and for your account. Okay, so that is it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys let me know. Like I say every day, comment, DM me, let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like, because I'm here for it and I'm here for you. I will talk to you guys.